What's up, everyone, and welcome to the channel. As today we will be covering the top 10 predictions for the fantasy football. We're going running back style. If you haven't checked it out, please check out my quarterback video. The link will be listed down below. But without further ado, let's get into the running backs. So, before I get this list kicked off, just a reminder, this is fantasy football top 10. I'm not saying top 10 running backs in the league. Those are two different things. This will be based off like PPR, rushing, touchdowns, things like this. This ain't based on the best overall back. They do have similarities, but it's the top 10 fantasy football running backs. And at number 10, I got Zeke Elliott. Now, yes, it depends on how you view him a lot. Last year, he had a very down year. His worst year to date. He had like 16 carries per game. I want to say his rushing yard per carry was little over 4. It's not the Zeke we're used to. Now, you could hope it could be a rebound year, but would I still touch him as a top 5 running back? I wouldn't. I could see why people would, because they're believing in the Dallas hype. They're believing that offense is back together with Dak. I would still try to let him slide a little further down. Like, if you're picking at the back end of the first round, and he's there, I'm ecstatic to grab him. But if it's like 4, 5, or 6, I don't know if I will still touch him, just because I'm afraid if I'm going to get what I seen last year. So he'd be like no touch for me in that area. But if it's between the end of the first round, I would say go all over it. Now, at number 9, this might surprise a lot of people, and it's nothing to do with him whatsoever. It's just the situation, and I'm talking about you, Nick Chubb. I love Nick Chubb. He is an amazing running back. He is great. Ever since he's come in the league, he's been amazing. He's been one of the, I think, actually the best focal point in the Browns offense. But the biggest concern for me of Nick Chubb is if you draft him early, you better find a way to draft Kareem Hunt then, because Kareem Hunt has been taking some of his carries, and if you look at it just by the stats wise, Kareem Hunt gets more of the goal line work. What does that mean? He's taking most of his touchdowns. If Kareem Hunt wasn't there, Nick Chubb could be probably the best back in the league. He would probably be one of my top 1, if 2 favorite running backs in fantasy football. But Kareem Hunt is holding all of that. Nick Chubb as well does average 5 yards a carry. He can get you almost 100 yards a game. That's double-digit fantasy points. It's just Kareem Hunt factor scares me. The only way I would draft him early is I'm guaranteed to handcuff Kareem Hunt later in rounds. And at number 8, it might surprise a lot of people, but I got Austin Eckler. Yeah, I know. Some are ranking him in the top 15. I got him in the top 10 at number 8. That shouldn't be surprising whatsoever, though. Look what he did last year before his injury, and look what he did coming back from his injury. He was averaging over 100 yards a game. PPR king. If you're in a PPR league, I would be all over it. I would touch it early. He averaged over a touchdown every game while he was in. This should be a no-brainer. I think he can end up being a top 5 running back. I'll slide him at 8 just because running backs can be deep, definitely when it's in the top 10. But I think you have to sneak him in your top 10. At number 7, I got Jonathan Taylor. Yes, the rookie stud from last year. He came on so strong at the end of last year. But a lot of people don't recognize his numbers. Do you guys know he had 12 touchdowns? Do you know he averaged over 4 catches a game? Yes, he's going to come on strong. And the thing that I know a lot of Colts fans don't like, but the thing I like, he reminds me of one of those like old school workhorse running backs where he can get 20 carries a game. And with Carson Wentz being unhealthy and we're unsure what his status will be, and even if he is back week 1, like, you got to ease him in it, so there will be running the ball. And even if you have one or the other, Jacob Eason or Sam Ehlinger throwing the football, they're going to run the ball heavy. I won't be surprised if Jonathan Taylor is drafted way earlier than a lot of people expect, and I think it'll be worth it. I think he'll be a solid number 1 running back this year in fantasy football. At number 6, I got the stud himself coming back from an ACL injury. Probably the only reason he'll ever rank number 6, definitely if he comes back fully healthy, is Saquon Barkley. We all know what he is when he's fully healthy. That's why I can't rank him in the top 3. But if you can get a steal, and yes, I'm going to consider it a steal if it's the mid-first round Saquon and he's healthy, be all over it. He will be their workhorse. He catches the ball like crazy. PPR league all over it. He averages over a touchdown every game. He was over 100 yards in every game average. Be all over that. Yes, the main thing we got to watch out for, well, actually the main thing is that Giants O-line. That was the main thing he struggled with. If that O-line can be rebuilt and they could block for him and we get the old Saquon, amazing. But we don't know that, and we don't know how he will be coming off of his injury. I do believe, like, weeks 1 through 3 will be a filling out. And then when it comes to end of September, beginning of October, I think we're going to see Saquon unleashed. And I think the Giants will love that. And I think every fantasy owner that draft him will go crazy about that. At number 5, I got Aaron Jones, Green Bay Packers. This one, I remember a couple of years ago, we didn't even know who he was. And now he's coming out of nowhere. Aaron Jones is one of the most gifted running backs, and he fits that Packers offense perfectly. The reason I have him at number 5 is easy. Who else does Aaron Rodgers have as weapon-wise? Yes, he's got Devontae Adams. But then your strict number 2 threat is Aaron Jones. He also averages 5.5 yards a carry. That's easily averages to almost 100 yards a game. He's averaging 16 carries a game. He's not that type of workhorse where he can give you 20 carries every game, but he can give you the catches too. He's over 5 catches a game, and if you get that, definitely in a PPR league, go crazy. That's almost like 15 points a game. You have to get him early, and I think he's going to be a sleeper just because people will recognize everyone that's coming back from injuries, which I'll get into more, but I've already talked about Saquon. You will hear about the others, and I think Aaron Jones can slide. If he slides to you, again, be all over that. I'd be ecstatic because he is the number 2 threat in Green Bay, and I think he can win a lot of championships this year as well for your team. Now, at number 4, speaking of injury prone, but I don't really think it's fair to say that Dalvin Cook is injury prone. Yes, he had 1 full season where he recovered from an ACL. But after that, yes, he's been nicked up here and there, but he still has given you 14 plus games fully. He's played. Yes, they had Alexander Madison come in here and there. But as for that, it's been the Dalvin Cook show. And Dalvin Cook knows how to show out when he plays. He has had 25 plus carries when he is fully in there. He has had double-digit touchdowns in games. He's someone you shouldn't avoid just because you think, oh, he's injury prone. He's not as injury prone as we think he is. He hasn't missed a full season. He hasn't missed 6 games in the season in a couple of years. So if you want to say take the risk if you're going to draft him early. I would. If he's there at like a 4 or 5, take him. Running backs are a dime a dozen because after the first round, it gets very iffy. So you got to get your main one in the first round. And if Dalvin Cook's your guy, be all over it. And then number 3, we're going to keep talking injuries, but I don't know why. This is the one I feel more confident, most comfortable with. It's Christian McCaffrey. Like, let's realize what he's done on the field when fully healthy. It can't be ignored, and especially in fantasy football purposes. He is a 1,500-yard carry running back in a year and almost 1,000-yard receiving back. He gets 85 catches a year as well. Those numbers are stupid when it comes to fantasy football. If he wasn't hurt, he'd be your unanimous number 1 running back. But of course, you have to push him back. But I don't know. If I was a top 3 pick, even if I was a number 1 pick, I might still take him. The injury might have me thinking a few things, but Christian McCaffrey, I would love to have him on team, and a lot of people should. Don't focus on the injury. It's a new year. Let's see how he rebounds from it. At number 2 himself, and honestly, I can see why a lot of people will put him at number 1, and then there's people who will push him back for this reasoning as well. But I got Alvin Kamara. The main reason I'm having him at number 2, it's because he's the focal point now. We don't know what the Michael Thomas situation is. We don't know who the starting quarterback is, Taysom Hill or Jameis Winston. I'm going to say it's Winston, but even at that, they gotta run the football. And if you're throwing the ball, you might as well throw it to the back who's led the league in receptions last year. Yes, Alvin Kamara. He had some stupid numbers. I remember one, man, I don't even want to bring it up, but I guess I got to. I'm going to have respect for a guy who put 55 on me on almost a championship week and made me lose the game. Yes, not many running backs can do that. When he can put up 100 yards rushing, 100 yards receiving, and 10 catches in a game, go for him. When he can get you 3 or 4 touchdowns a game, go for him. I'm not concerned that he's going to be the main focal point. The only thing that's concerning is maybe down the line when it gets towards playoff time. Let's hope he stays healthy throughout the whole year. Let's see if he can withstand that workload. But I'm not going to look too deep into that. I'm going to look the potential is there. And we already know what Alvin Kamara does when he gets a heavy workload. Now, number one, is it a no-brainer? I don't know. I could think it is, but Derrick Henry. I think Alvin Kamara makes a strong case. I think a lot of these running backs do. The only thing that holding him back is an injury. But Derrick Henry, he's led the league in rushing the last 2 seasons. He's led the league in touchdowns the last 2 seasons. We know what he does. Tennessee runs their offense through them. And if you think just because Julio Jones is there, that's going to change, no. That might actually open it up more for him. Might pull defenders out. It might make it more easier for him. I think this could be really interesting, and I think Tennessee just got more dynamic, and I think it makes Derrick Henry better. So Derrick Henry, I think, is the easy number 1 pick. I think you should go with him, but again, it's iffy. I get it, because people will think otherwise. And Derrick Henry, I don't think he should fall no lower than 3 on your list. That'd be absurd if you have him ranked less than 3 on your list. What he's done the last 2 seasons, again, we can say, yeah, the wear and tear on running backs gets there. So what if this is the season that happens? Again, just focus on like the now. Like, he's not hurt now, and he hasn't really been hurt. And he hurts people. You see how big he is? Like, he run people over. He be trucking them. He be stiff arming them. Josh Norman, I'm talking about you. Yes, I wouldn't be concerned about Derrick Henry. If you have the number 1 pick in your draft, I would easily pick Derrick Henry. And with that, that will wrap up my top 10 fantasy running backs of 2021. Hey, they're my predictions. I know. You got the Antonio Gibsons I missed out. The Clyde Edwards-Helaire. You got a lot of running backs that have potential to slide into that top 10. Let me know in the comments down below if I messed something up. Let me see if we match, or if you think I'm crazy, or if I think you're crazy. And without further ado, if you've made it this far to the video, I greatly appreciate you. So why not, if you haven't already, please subscribe to this channel. Please give me that big thumbs up. Please like this video as well. I do have my page on Facebook. It will keep you up to date on all the latest videos dropping Waterboy related. It'll be at Hydrate702. And oh yeah, that Twitter page, it is popping. It is live. I got my opinion on all the latest NFL news and rumors. So you might as well go check it out and follow that. And with that, take care. Peace.